Is there a direct connection between health and fitness and real estate? Health and fitness and success in the real estate business? I always thought that maybe there could be. It was kind of theory, but I know now, like this is absolutely tried and true. This is a success principle. When you're on point with your fitness and your health, you will do better in your business. And there's many reasons why. We're going to talk about those reasons today with my coach, my fitness and nutrition coach, John Madsen from Athletic AF.
The Massive Agent Podcast, with lead generation tips and strategies to get you more leads and sell more homes.
I love to buy houses. I like to sell houses.
It takes brass balls to sell real estate.
Wait a minute.
The leads are weak. You're weak.
I've had better.
Oh, have I got your attention now?
Here's your host, Dustin Brohm.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 157 of the Massive Agent Podcast. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, guys. This show is coming out on Christmas Eve, and a lot of you will hear it before Christmas. So hope you have an amazing rest of your week with the family, with friends, with loved ones, or by your damn self if that's how you prefer it. Merry Christmas, and enjoy it, and then get back to work. So welcome to the show, guys. My name is Dustin Brohm, your host. If you're new to the show and you don't know, I am a real estate agent myself in Salt Lake City, Utah, co-founder of the Industry Syndicate Podcast Network, and the creator and founder of the Massive Agent Daily social media app, as well as the Massive Agent Society Lead Gen Training Program. All right, today I wanted to do something a little different. We're about to start a new year, 2021. And there's something about turning that calendar over for a new year that makes us really make a bunch of plans. Now, the last time we did this, and some of you may be a little gun shy to make New Year's resolutions this go around because we saw how that ended last time. Some of that's in a really, really good way, and things were a lot better than we thought. Some not so much. So 2021 is just going to be crazy. Let's accept it. It's going to be a shit show, and it's going to be amazing all at the same time. I choose to focus on what's going to be amazing, knowing that the shit show is just going to be happening. It already is happening. It will continue to happen. It's going to get worse, but I refuse to let that drag me down. I refuse to let that drag my family down. I refuse to let that make relationships deteriorate and my health and fitness and wellness deteriorate and my business deteriorate. Not happening. 2021 is going to be my best year ever. And I hope that you guys feel the same way. Now, since we're about to start the new year, a lot of you are making New Year's resolutions that are health and fitness related, which is good. You should do those things. That's very, very good. Don't wait till you think you're having a heart attack before you get your shit together like I did and you've heard me talk about a few episodes ago. But one of the things that I did this year, okay, just within the last few months, is I hired a fitness coach, fitness and nutrition coach, because as I'm learning, I've heard this for a while, but I didn't really know how to do it, right? Diet is 80% of it. Like if you guys want a six pack, if you want to be 9% body fat, if you want to drop 50 pounds, if you just want more natural energy, yes, exercise is key, but diet is 80% of it. It really is. It's amazing how, and this is what John and I will be talking about today, is how he's helped me do this. But I was doing so many things right. I was even tracking my calories. I was tracking my macros, but I was getting too much fat, too many carbs, not nearly enough protein. And so once I started to, get those adjusted properly, the body fat melted off. It's incredible how fast that can happen if you have someone who really knows their shit telling you exactly what to do. And I found out I was actually exercising too much and not eating enough of the right things. So it's crazy. Absolutely the opposite of what I thought. I thought I would have to starve myself and work out twice as hard or twice as often. No, I didn't. But it took a pro showing me the right way to do things. And that pro, John Madsen, the CEO of Athletic and Fit, is here with us today, and I'm stoked for this conversation. This is not just about health and nutrition. There's a lot of business principles, a lot of success principles that we're going to talk about, because John is an extremely successful business guy as well. Not only does he's an ex-NFL player. He played for the Raiders and the Browns, I believe. and he was a wide receiver up at the University of Utah back under Urban Meyer, which is super cool because the other day, John organized a Zoom call with Urban Meyer and his whole coaching group. So I got to be on a Zoom call with Urban Meyer, and I'll tell you what, like, I've always been a fan of his, seeing how he goes from school to school and turns them into a national championship football team within 2 years everywhere he goes. That's pretty incredible. But when I heard the principles behind, like the philosophies behind how he does it, it is no surprise to me that he is winning at a level, or he has won as a football coach at the level he has, just because of his founding principles. And he shared those with us, and they stick with me. But he's one of John's mentors. John was one of his not students, one of his players for years, and they've stayed in touch, which is super cool. But John's, he's been winning at a very high level physically, winning at a very high level within business, and family guy. He's got he has a daughter, he has a beautiful wife. They're just doing things right. And so this conversation, I think, is going to be super interesting for a lot of you. Even if you're just like, shut up, tell me how to sell more homes, cool it just a little bit, because we are doing that. But sometimes you've got to get your foundation right. You've got to build the confidence in yourself. You have to get some more energy behind what you do. And that is what you need, not some tactic. Yes, tactics are important. Strategies are important. Being able to run a Facebook ad, this worded this specific way, targeted to this group of people with this ad spend, all of that. Yes, that's important. But there's so much more to it. That can get you leads, but then are you ever going to be able to convert them? Are they, are you going to demand respect when they see you? Are you going to have energy enough to make them feel like you're worth working with, and that you can actually, serve their needs, and that you're the one to go to bat for them? There's so much more to this conversation of selling more homes than just a tactic. So for the love of God, have an open mind here. And this conversation, we do talk about business, we do talk about fitness, and you're going to learn some specific things about how I've been able to have the physical transformation that I've had over the last few months near the end of the show. So we get into some specific recommendations for what you guys should be doing going into 2021 with your nutrition and with your diet and all that. Let's get into the interview with John Madsen, the CEO of Athletic and Fit. Keep an open mind here, listen, and please make some changes. Okay, guys, I cannot tell you how much it's helped me to have a ton more natural energy and more confidence in myself now that my diet's on point, my nutrition's on point, I'm healthier, I'm in the best physical shape of my life. I've never looked the way I look in the mirror ever before. Even when I was, a college football player for a semester, back when I was 19, I was never this healthy. And it's crazy. And what that's done for my businesses is something that was just theory before, and now I know. What's up, guys? I'm here with John Madsen, my coach, and the person responsible for a lot of the big changes you've been hearing me talk about on the show over the last month or so. He's somebody that I look up to, not just with health and fitness, but in business and in life. And we knew each other a little bit after high school. Weren't you in the real estate industry or like title industry, like in Salt Lake before you guys moved?
I had a buddy who owns a title company. And so it was like, I was still in the fitness industry with my gyms. We can get into that, but I had a position. I was like, this can be like a little part-time thing. So I dabbled in that a little bit just because they recruited me over because I have a huge network in Utah, man. So we probably did cross paths a little bit. Yeah.
We had lunch at Porcupine once with, who was it? I forget his name. Jed.
And Jed. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Crazy. Small world. But dude, welcome to the Massive Agent Podcast. I'm excited to just to talk about everything that's been going on with me and then talk about some business parallels. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here, brother. So truly honored. Super excited to get into this conversation.
For sure. So you're somebody that, before we really like knew each other and before I joined your program, I would like, man, this guy, he's an ex-NFL player. He was a receiver up at the U. He's got a 6-pack on his Facebook feed. Like, what the hell? I'm working out super, super, super hard. I'm in this puddle of sweat. I don't have that. What's going on? And this is why social media is so powerful. You posted something, and to you is probably just another post, but you said something specific that just got me. It's like, you said that you don't need to be lying in a puddle of sweat to have a 6-pack. Most of you are probably working out way too hard and a lot more than I ever do. So something along those lines. And I'm like, holy shit, like I believe that. So I'm going to reach out and see what you can do for me. And it's changed everything. Like within just about 3 months now, man, I have so much energy. I lost a lot of body fat, lost a lot of weight, which is weird. I'm down to like 157, which I haven't been since like right out of high school. It's very weird. And it's really helped my business too. Like when you commit to something and you see progress in that and you boost your confidence, guess what? Business gets better. And it's crazy. So, why don't you take a few minutes? How did you get to where you're at now? You haven't always been a fitness and nutrition coach. You played in the NFL. You've got your Raiders jersey behind you there. How did you get to this point? Like, what made you want to help others in business and fitness?
Yeah, man, it's been a long road, man. And when I was done playing in the NFL, I was 3 years in. I had a last little stint in Cleveland with the Browns, and I got cut, man. I was 27 years old. From that point, I was going from workout to workout. I was kind of put on that jet set train where I remember having workouts in Buffalo, and I was flying out to Baltimore, and it seemed like everything was on the East Coast, and I was, getting put on these red eye flights, and then I'd have a tryout in the morning. And at 27, I just literally was like, you know what? I might be able to get a few more years. I might land at a spot that utilizes my talent a little bit more, and maybe I last for 5 or 10 more years, right? But I mentally kind of checked out, and knowing that my phone didn't ring for a little bit, I decided I was at a 24-hour fitness, and I was just warming up, and I saw this trainer train these 2 high school football players, and I was watching them take them through a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of stuff that I was like, dude, these poor kids are paying this trainer, and he probably had good intentions. I didn't know this guy, but I was like, these poor kids are paying this guy to help them, and they're not getting anything that they need. Like, I know what they need. And I literally didn't even work out that day. I went back to my car, wrote up a business plan, was like, I was in Arizona at the time in Chandler. And I had just bought a house, probably spent 9 months there at the most, and was like, I'm moving back to Salt Lake City. I'm opening up a gym. It's going to be a performance center for high school athletes. That's what I'm going to do. And so that happened really quick. I couldn't sleep for the next 3 nights. I was like looking up business plans and had this whole idea that I was going to build this training center for high school athletes. And I do what I always did. I never played high school football. I didn't play one down of high school football. And I ended up scoring a couple touchdowns in the National Football League. So part of my deal is like, look, man, somebody might not invite you to the party. You got to invite yourself. Right. And so I went and I did the same thing at the University of Utah. I didn't have a scholarship. I went up there. I had a highlight film and said, hey, can I walk on? So that started, that kind of mentality has taken me and took me all the way into my first business, where I was like, look, man, I don't know how to run a business, but I do have this idea and I do know what these kids need. So I'm going to open up shop. And I opened up a training center back in 2010. I didn't have a single client. I didn't have a grand opening. I literally just thought that if I built this place and dumped, $100K of my NFL money into it, that I'd have a line of people come through the door. And that didn't happen, man. So I had to learn about business. But in the meantime, I did get enough kids to go in there, and we started just pumping out scholarship after scholarship. And so I ran with that for literally probably the first 7 years. If we're going to talk about the gym industry, fitness industry, it was largely for high school athletes and college athletes. And in doing so, I had professional athletes, World Series champions, NFL players, combine guys. So I kind of got to do that part of fitness for a long time. I also almost shut down that first place after 16 months because I had no idea what a business actually looked like. So I went from a big spot to a tiny warehouse to a little bit mediocre warehouse to another big spot, and ultimately found myself around the time my daughter was born, 2.5 years old, thinking, I'm putting in so many hours in this gym. I'm getting up at 5 a.m. I'm going to bed at 10 p.m. Financially, it's, I have an okay life. I have okay months, but it's not really what I wanted to do. And I knew that I had this lifestyle that I really wanted to have with my wife and my daughter who wasn't born yet. I was like, I'm not going to be the guy who's never around. I'm going to have kids and I'm going to coach them. And I literally have to find out where my lane is in this fitness industry, or I'm going to get out of the fitness industry altogether. So from that point, probably 2 years ago, I started building this online program and that you're taking a part of. And it didn't take off right off the bat. I had to learn a lot of stuff with online marketing and sales and all the stuff, man, a lot of technology. But over the past 18 months, probably mostly a year, this program has wildly taken off. And I've taken 10 years of business, beatings to get to this point, like we all do, right? Like there's got to be a time where you flex that persistence muscle and you learn along the way, and then everything kind of lines up for you to really, for me to see this vision through. And, as 2021 approaches, I don't even feel like I'm in the game yet, man. I have great big goals financially, business-wise, and with fitness. So I'm just excited to have the opportunity to wake up each day and take another swing.
Why do you think that that athletic AF has really taken off? Like, is it a combination of you just have your sales funnels dialed in and your social media content, or is it you're just like the results speak for themselves and you get a lot of referral business, or is it both?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what it is, man. It's all mindset, bro. 95% of it. Like and this sounds weird, and we can go down this rabbit hole. This is probably my favorite thing to talk about in the world, because even fitness, 95% is mindset, 5% tactic strategy, depending on the person. You needed a different strategy, and we can talk about that a little bit. There was little fine tweaks that we could bring some understanding. As far as my business, I remember seeing an ad probably 5 years ago. And this ad was like for a program that would teach you how to run a webinar, get a lead, turn that lead into a customer. And it was like 12 grand or something. And I didn't have 12 grand at the time to just spend on it, but I pulled out a credit card, and they kind of hard sold me on the phone. I was like, okay, this is it. And then I got so excited, man, but I had to tell my wife, right? I was like, I'm going to ask for forgiveness, not permission. And so I gave the dude my credit card, got the program, started jamming out about Facebook ads and how to get leads and stuff. And I remember taking my wife out to dinner and ordering a couple of drinks, and was like trying to figure out a way in my mind to tell her like how I just spent 12 grand and on this program that was going to make us millionaires, right? And so I ordered drinks, and your wife knows when you're acting kind of weird. Just like she was saying something, but I was not really listening. I was just
trying way too well.
Yeah, dude. I was just trying. She's like, "You're acting weird. What is it?" I was like, "Oh, babe, like there's this thing online, and like I'm going to learn how to, get clients online, and I paid 12 grand, blah, blah, blah." She just kind of rolls her eyes and says, "Okay, like don't tell me about it. Show me, right? Show me what you're going to do." And ironically, the reason I tell you that is because I got into the program and I did nothing with it. I literally learned Facebook ads and then had a bunch of stories about why I couldn't sell fitness for this price and that price, and just made up stories, man. That's what we do as humans, right? I had all these limiting beliefs that was like blocking my ability to see exactly what I needed to see. And so I did nothing with that program, although the seed was planted in my mind. It took me down a journey learning about Facebook ads and, different strategies. Is that I ultimately hired another coach for the gym that really took my understanding from a lead generation standpoint to another level. And then I had probably 2 other coaches. So I literally invested probably 150 grand in a 5-year period on coaches trying to teach me how to do this thing that I wanted to create. Ironically, they were all telling me kind of the same stuff. And ultimately, I'm running kind of the same strategy, although a little bit with my own spin on it from the very first program that I bought from 12 grand. I had to finally write a check to one of my mentors. Literally, he's a mindset coach. And I said, it was 40 grand. I said, dude, I'm so tired of being sick and tired of not like breaking free. I thought my mindset was on point. Like I've been in the NFL, like I've scored some touchdowns, I've done all this shit, but ultimately I'm not getting the result I want. So here's 40 grand to just go into my brain and rewire it. And so he did, dude. He did. He literally went inside of me and started plucking out these limiting beliefs and decisions. And as soon as they were gone, I went back almost to the first strategy that I ever was thinking about in the beginning, with a new mindset and new type of authenticity in the way that I spoke, a lack of care for what the outside world thought. Criticize me, don't criticize me, talk crap on my Facebook ads, literally don't care. And as soon as I zeroed in on that, brother, I literally started just nailing it, dude. And it was like, before I didn't think that I could sell a fitness program for $2,000. Right now, like I charge higher prices than anybody probably in the fitness industry, and they're higher than when you joined. And so as that happens, I'm so authentic and congruent, and I've learned all this stuff. It's like, it's a no-brainer for me. And now, dude, with those limiting beliefs gone, it's like, that's what it took. So to answer your question, it was all mindset for me. The tactics were already built in, but I needed to shift my whole perception in order to see what was available to me. And now, it's like all foot, instead of 1 foot on the gas and 1 foot on the brake, it's I have 1 foot down on the gas and we're crushing. It had nothing to do with, some people's like, oh, this must have been great business for you with the COVID thing. I'm like, actually, no, because my type of fitness is not doing, burpees in your living room. I actually hate that. I need you to go to the gym. Ultimately, if you don't, we have a plan for you. But COVID was not a help or a hurt for me. A lot of the people in the industry just got murdered by it. For me, I was just like, my perspective was so different. My mindset was so on point and my focus was there. I literally just bulldozed right through it.
There's so many directions we could take this, but you've really spoken to the power of coaching and the power of getting somebody who is at a place you want to be, has done something that you want to do, or something along those lines, and they just compress time for you. And I feel like when I joined your program, that's what you've done. Like that's what you and Chris and your program have done with me, because I was doing I thought I was doing everything right, but the gains were so slow, and I just felt like I'm slightly off. And when we first had a Zoom call and you laid out your program, and you're like, yeah, you're doing pretty much everything right. We just need to make a little adjustment, like a slight adjustment, and it changes everything. And I just trusted you, because I'm like, I've seen the results. I've seen, other people that have gone through your program, and I'm like, cool. I had a little sticker shock, I'm like, wow, I didn't think it'd be that much, but goddamn, that's worth it. And it sure as hell has been. But I now, even though I am a coach, I coach others, I have a team, I'm trying to now look for as many other coaches as I can get to help me go where I want to go now. And you kind of help me with that, because I see a slight adjustment and a little refocusing, a rejiggering, on what I was eating. Not even my exercise was fine. That hasn't really changed. You just helped me change my diet in very specific ways, and it changed everything. Body fat melted off, energy goes through the roof. And so now I'm looking for other coaches. I'm like, okay, I need a business coach. I need this, I need that. And so that your answer surprised me at first, because I was expecting to be like, well, it was a combination of the Facebook ads and all that changed the business. But yeah, your mindset and your coach. So
I'll tell you, dude, this, man. I pay for so much coaching, dude. This is the thing. If you're listening and you're just like, dude, how can I break free? I'm like, my answer is so 100%. The coaching is so important. Fitness. We can talk about fitness coaching too. I have a fitness coach, dude. I spent 10 years into this arena, but there's always something that I can learn too. And so even in fitness, it's like the bumpers. If you go bowling and you're a kid and you're not going to throw gutters, it's like those coaches are those guardrails And it's like, if you go off a little bit, it just like, it nudges you back to, stay in the lane. Right. And so yes, accountability. Also, there's might be just a little piece of gold that might be super small that literally changes the whole trajectory. And, going into 2021, I'm still gobbling up coaching, man. Like I had a post on Facebook the other day or Instagram. I was like, I re-upped for my mindset coach. It was $30K for the next level program. Like, dude, I don't care. Like you helped me so much. I would have paid whatever to just like rip those limiting beliefs out of me. So there was that. And then I was like, dude, I got to take my business from 7 figures to 8. Like literally, how am I going to do that? I need somebody who's been in this industry to help me set up structure. How am I going to set up the sales teams? What are the commissions going to be? How am I going to do this? Like, what are the positions, dude? Because this is like 6 to 7 was like, that was my territory. 7 to 8, I don't know, right? Like I literally don't know. And so, that coach was $25K. And I was like, okay, cool. This is going to be my coach. And then I got this, I've been wanting to get into the real estate game, and, I'm going to talk to you more about this, but there was this mastermind with these influencers. I was like, dude, like
Avengers.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, I'm going to this little event, and, I don't know anything about real estate, and I'm probably the poorest guy in this room right now. However, if I'm going to learn from some ballers. And so, it was another $30K. So with literally a 30-day period, I was like $30K, $25K. And my wife's the same. And it's like, here's the thing. All those people, all those checks that I wrote, it's going to hit their Chase Bank or Wells Fargo or wherever, right? But the ROI that I'm going to get is going to be 10x what they got. And so like, I firmly believe that, dude. I firmly believe it. And I believe in such an abundant mindset. Magic happens when I write a check to somebody for myself. First thing is this: my self-identity goes from here to here, because I'm telling myself with my hard-earned money and effort and energy that I'm worth it. I'm putting that into me, right? And I tell people all the time, whether it's fitness or business, you will never outperform your self-identity, ever. And so if you want to raise your self-identity, put some of your money into yourself. Tell yourself that you're worth it. It does magic for your unconscious. That raises. And then I'm always super surprised with this abundant way of thinking that I spend money, and I'm like, even me in the last 30 days was like, dude, I'm just writing check. And then how much more business flowed to me, because it's like, this money is like a river. I'm letting it go out, and it's just flowing back at rapid speed. And for me, I'm like, dude, like I'm willing to play that game, right? Like, yes, I will diversify in my investments and, be smart financially. However, I'm going all in on one thing and like the most important thing. And that's myself, whether that's fitness or business or knowledge or mindset, like that's what's important to me, man. And, I preach that because I believe it, because I've seen that take me from a place where I was scarce and me and my wife didn't have the life that we wanted, to a place where there's just this massive ascension.
The scarcity mindset is so abundant. Well, that's weird to say. The scarcity, it's so common. And I mean, I know, because for the vast majority of my real estate career, I was like, well, I don't know if I can spend $100 a month on that one thing, even though it would dramatically help. I don't know, because I could, I don't know if I can spend that money. And it's so weird. Once you finally, and it takes practice and it takes some time, but once you wrap your head around the fact that like you can always make more money, and some things that you spend money on help you make infinitely more. And like you said, it just becomes this thing where you're like keep giving me coaches, like let's keep going, because it keeps coming back. It just takes a minute to get there. And so many agents are so unwilling to do that, while at the same time, they piss money away if they think they found the shortcut. Some program, some, new lead source, some bullshit. And they're like, oh, that's the secret. That's the shortcut. That's what's going to get me. So here, take all my money. Mm-hmm. And then other things that are like actually in line with what their strengths and weaknesses are and their business model and how they want to do business, they won't invest $100 a month, $300 a month, $1,000. It's just bizarre. And real estate agents, we're weird. We're broken mentally. First of all, we're very weird people. But I think that's also a human thing. I don't know what it is. let's dive a little deeper on that. And then I want to talk about this connection between fitness, health, and business, which I'm just starting to like actually understand personally. But any last thoughts on what I just mentioned?
Yeah, man, this is a lot of the work that I did with a mindset coach, because I thought that I had a pretty, I thought that money wasn't an issue as far as mindset was concerned, but it was, because every single person that we talk to, or I'm going to talk to today, or that's listening on this podcast, their thoughts are going to be dominated by abundance or scarcity, and it's going to be largely determined by their belief systems about money. Where do those belief systems come from? Well, it's not the ones that we're consciously thinking about. You can want money as much as you want. However, your relationship with money unconsciously is going to determine whether you're a magnet to it or whether you repel it. And so people want more. They're like, I got to pay my bills. I got to make more money. And so the precise thing that they want, they also have this negative connotation or this deep-seated unconscious belief that it's evil or greedy or this or that. And maybe if it's not even those things, in their speech patterns, in their language patterns, I know instantly that they're speaking from scarcity or abundance. I know 100% how a person is running their business, whether it's an abundant win-win situation or it's a situation dominated by scarcity. And so, part of my training over the past 2 years is understanding, language patterns, my own, but also it feels like I'm, walking around in the matrix. I can have a conversation and I'm like, a person speaks and I know instantly what their problem is. And so it's those precise people that are going to go chase the quick fix. They're going to go chase it and they're going to pay for it. And they're over a decade, they'll keep paying for they'll always find money to pay for the thing that doesn't work. And they'll repeat that process instead of just paying more money for the right thing, at the right time that is going to make a difference. But it's not probably even the thing. It's more of their mindset thinking that it's a tactic or strategy that's going to save them. However, their mindset is so fixated on scarcity, it's impossible for them to outperform that self-image, which has these deep-rooted belief systems about money. And it's mind-boggling to me that they can't understand that it's not the tactic or strategy, but it's the root of it. And it could be from the time they're 0 to 7 years old, man. That's like when we don't have that mechanism where we can filter things out of our unconscious, like we're sponges that's the imprint age, 0 to 7. Everything that you hear or see or, your parents talk about or the TV is talking about is programmed deep into you. So it could possibly be, how you grew up in those years, those early years. And it could also be not that. It could be, in your teenage years or 20s or 30s and decisions that you made or certain instances that drove that belief system that is faulty into your unconscious that you're not consciously aware of. And so you want this thing consciously, but unconsciously, you have all these beliefs that are locking you up and you literally cannot see the solutions to your problems when it comes to finances. This is how I was, man. Like I literally thought that I'd read the books. I'd read all the books, man. And I'd be like, I don't have a problem with money. I played in the NFL. I made a lot of money when I was, 22, 23, 24 years old. However, why do I keep sabotaging myself? Why can I not break free? And it had everything to do with the deep mindset, largely, encompassing this thing called money, and more so this abundant way of thinking or scarce way of thinking, right? And so if you're a real estate agent or you're in the game and you're in it because you want freedom and time and a lot more money, yet the way you speak when you talk about money or your unconscious things that you're not even aware of is locking you up, you can buy all the courses you want and it's not going to make a damn bit of difference.
Right. And this is something that I didn't understand about myself until looking backwards. When you have that scarcity mindset, when you're not in a good financial position, you think that it's just like it's in your head. You think that no one else can tell. Everyone can tell. Like it leaks out. It leaks out all over your clients, and they can tell when in certain situations, if you're guiding them towards a fast sale or something that maybe not be in their best interest because it means a faster commission check, they can tell that shit. Mm-hmm. And when you get to and that leads to, maybe you piss a client off or you screw them over financially or something that really could ruin your career. But at a minimum, It's just like they can feel that you're mostly there for them, but you're also kind of not. Once you can get to the place where you're okay financially, or you just switch your mindset, all of a sudden you really do put your client first 100% of the time, not 95% of the time. And they can tell, like when you recommend that they do something that means you don't get paid, but it's better for them, trust. They get trust. They're going to refer you. Your business gets better. And plus you build confidence. You're like, I just did something that is like, I just really legitimately put their interest first, and I'm not even worried about myself. And all of a sudden your business starts to improve. You get more clients coming in, you get more referrals, and it starts to snowball in a positive direction. And for so much of my career, I was the former. I was, I didn't think that it was leaking out and could be seen or felt by my clients. But sometimes I'm like, oh no, like you can't walk away from this property. It's just a faulty roof. Let's just replace it. Like I need a commission check. I can't wait another month. They can tell, and it makes you feel shitty about yourself. So, real
quick, I want to just interject, dude.
Please.
It's not even, if you think about this like your conscious, your brain, right? Your mind, right? Your conscious self, right? And so consciously, you're thinking one thing. Think about your body as like the unconscious, right? And so in the feeling that they can feel it, what you probably don't understand too, is it comes out in your tonality. It comes up because it's not even about what you say. And that's the whole issue, is like you could say all the right things, but unconsciously you had this issue. And so it comes out in your tonality. It comes out in the micro behaviors, the micro movements of your eyes. Literally, humans pick up on that stuff, right? And so when you are coming from true, authentic abundance and you've practiced that skill, that's how you start making more. That's how you start making more sales. That's when everything starts to click for you. Because in the other way, like you were saying, yeah, you could, people can feel it, but they also can hear it. It's also in that all the stuff that you don't think that you're doing, that you are doing, that connection is being repelled, and you struggle more. It's so fascinating how powerful humans are, and how much people really can see, hear, and feel the real motives despite what you say.
It's a great point. Yeah, the body language. Like I think I'm a fairly perceptive person, and I more sometimes, like my friends or my family, they'll be like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "No, didn't you see that? Like, did you see the look on that guy's face and how he said it?" And I'm like, "There's something not right about that." Or it's kind of an extreme example, but like I pick up on body language so much. And it's everything. And that's unconscious stuff, like you're saying, that it's unconsciously coming out. It's not just about the words you say. Great point. I want to make sure we really put some meat on the bone here with fitness, nutrition, and all that, and its connection to business. Because like I've always been told, when you're in shape, when your diet's on point, and you're just really healthy, your business improves. And that was theory for me. I was like, cool, that sounds right. I can see how that makes sense. Well, now after going through your program, and I'm not even done, I have another month, lost a bunch of fat, feeling great, and for literally the best shape of my life, because my diet is actually on point. It's not just from 19-year-old metabolism, having a six pack because I could eat 5 Big Macs and burn it. That's not healthy. Well, I am now. It's crazy. And the confidence I've built in business and everything makes me more productive every day, helps me tackle things that I would have avoided 6 months ago. What has your experience been, not just with yourself, but with others, of how once they really start to dial in their health and nutrition and fitness, how has that helped their business, and why does that happen?
Yeah, man, this is interesting to me. And this was the whole premise of me, my whole marketing message out there is like the Athletic AF CEO project. You don't have to be a CEO, but you better own your life. And so in a sense, we are all CEOs, and the price point of the program really lends itself to people who are drivers and high performers, right? And so the concept for me has always been the ability to tie this idea that how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? I believe that your body is a microcosm of every single thing else in your entire life, right? Every single thing else. However, we can point to extremes. We all know the rich, wealthy guy who's a complete fat ass, right? Yep. And so it's like, okay, well, he didn't need his fitness to get to where he is, and maybe he has a private jet or whatever, right? And then we also know the guy who's in Gold's Gym or Planet Fitness, and they're carrying a jug of water around, and they have a bag full of 10 supplements, and they're spending 2.5 hours at the gym talking about getting their delt pump on or their biceps, and it's like, okay, dude, like you can be jacked and tan and whatever else you want to do, but you're literally spending 2.5 hours a day at the gym for 7 days a week, and you follow the guy out to the car in his little tank top, and he's driving a 10-year-old Honda, right? So like we have these examples on both extremes. Like we can see dudes who are ultra fit or bodybuilder type, whatever, and not have any money. And then we also can point to the fact that there are very rich, wealthy people who are not healthy, right? So if we take those extremes out, my message to people is like, look, if you've neglected your health a little bit, or you've never been really elite in your fitness and done it in a way where it's not going to take 2 days, it's not going to take you spending 2.5 hours a day at the gym that takes away from your business and takes away from your family. Literally give me 3 to 4 days a week in the gym, 5 if you love it like I do, for 60 minutes a day. And then I'm going to teach you how to incorporate, the nutritional piece there. And if we do that with this whole idea and understanding that we can take our bodies to levels and limits that we've never even seen before in ourselves, it's going to raise that self-image. It's going to raise that confidence up. And I don't care if you're making $1 million or 10 million or 50 million. If you do it the way that I show you how to do it, if you have a $50 million business, I guarantee you it goes to 100. You will get better. There's zero chance that it gets worse, right? And so regardless of where a person's at, if you do this the right way, the way that I like to teach it and the way that I believe in it, it's only going to get better. And think about it. If you're crushing sales or you're just really good at what you do, a person is judging you. It takes 4 seconds. It takes milliseconds. It's actually not the handshake, and it's not the first word out of your mouth. It's you're watching dude walk in from wherever he walks in, and you make those judgments instantly, right? If a guy is like sloppy, I'm thinking subconsciously that it's like there's weakness there, right? And he could very well have a private jet, right? That's not the point. The point is that he could do better or she could do better. So like my whole point is like now more than ever, you guys have seen people get exposed in their fitness with this pandemic or whatever is going on. Nobody can argue that the people who are hurt the most by it, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, are people who have really bad health issues. And most of these things are done to themselves, right? It's the obesity. It's the stuff that they have neglected that exposes them from a fitness standpoint that like, look, health is the real wealth. And so my message to the world is I want badasses in fitness. I want people to be business savages. I want, if you're going to buy custom tailored suits and you're going to go to the suit store, I want you to wear the shit out of that, right? I want this appearance and image to yourself so that you can have that self-respect and that confidence and that certainty. Not that we want to win bodybuilding shows, but if you go out into the world like that and you really, believe in this idea that your body is a microcosm of your entire life, your relationships get better, your business gets better, your fitness and health gets better. Regardless of where you start, there's only one way to go. Now, if you do fitness another way and you start doing 2-a-days and you start, taking away from the hours that it's going to take to do your business, right? And it's not enhancing the business, then yeah, you could actually go down the fitness road a different way and your bottom line goes down. That's just not the way I teach it or like to teach it, because I want to win in business. I want to win in my relationship, and I want to win in fitness.
One of the things that really surprised me the most is you and Chris, when you were getting my program ready, I was in the middle of 75 hard. So I was working out twice a day, every day. And you actually, Chris was like, okay, we need you to work out less. Like, you need to work out less. I'm like, well, okay, after 75 hard. And he's like, no, you don't need to be running. You don't need to be doing like 2 full on crazy workouts. Like, just go on a walk. And I was like, okay. And so that made it a little easier. And then once 75 hard ended, all of a sudden it's down to like, 5 workouts a week, once per day, and not for 3 hours per day. And I'm like, wow, like I feel like I'm slacking, but the results are just like, are crazy. And so, yeah, I bought more time back because I thought, like so many people do, the more you exercise, the better it is. I'm learning that that's not necessarily the case at all. And so now I've freed up a little time, a little less time at the gym. Another, Wednesday is like my light day where I just do a walk. And so I can work more that day. And then Saturday and Sunday are free and, like amazing. So there's a lot of misconceptions out there. And it's been nice to have someone who knows what the hell they're talking about kind of, focus me. So what tips can you give people that are like, all right, I just need to do something? Like, what are some general fitness tips that you can give to people for fitness and nutrition that anyone, anywhere can start doing right now?
Yeah, man. I believe in what I call minimum effective dose. Like at the root of my belief in fitness is like, how can I drive adaptation with a minimum amount of work? Not that I'm like want to cut corners or do shortcuts. It's just, if we want to win in all facets of our life, I would argue that, if you're going to do a second workout, the second one should be 30 minutes of breathing, right? Like getting breath work in. That's going to completely alter the way that your body handles stress. And so, some people, it's like, look, they need to do something hard. They do. And so I love Andy Frisella and I love, his idea of 75 hard. And it really speaks to a certain individual, the drivers and the people like, bro, like I get it, dude. But like, I've been through 2-a-days. I've got my ass kicked in business before. Right. So it's like, I don't really need to prove to myself how hard I can be. I literally want to get the result where I'm like, I look in the mirror, I have a 6-pack, I can take my shirt off and people are like, dude, what do you do? And I'm like, I work out 4 times a week and that's it. Like that's
need ice cream.
Yeah, dude, that's more appealing to me. And so for me, like if someone wants to prove to themselves how tough they are, like by all means. However, if you're just like, dude, 2021's around the corner, I need to get my fitness on. Like I agree with you, John. Like everything would be enhanced if I could feel better and I performed better, right? And let's just say for, one of the things and one of my points that I want to get across too is when you've changed your physiology and your energy changes, your perception changes. So it puts yourself in a different mind frame to tackle different problems in your business too. So that's a whole other reason why I like the physiological shift from fitness, from actual exercise. But if you're sitting here and you're like, what can I do? My ideal client is a client that has already been putting in effort. So if you're like getting into my brain, I'm imagining you guys listening to your podcast, they want to win or they wouldn't be listening. So I'm not imagining guys sitting on the couch eating Pop-Tarts going like, what do I do? Because that's an easy question. I'm going to speak to the person who's like, look, man, I'm already putting in effort. I'm going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, maybe even more like you. I just still see this image and I'm stuck. What should I do? See, that question should be answered with, food in mind, right? If we're going to talk about nutrition, I would tell you that one of the things that people ask me all the time is they want to know what to eat, right? It's like, John, what do I eat, man? Right. And so like level 0 awareness would be like the guy sitting on the couch eating Pop-Tarts who just doesn't care, right? Like going from that to eating single ingredient foods is going to make all the difference in the world. Lose weight, more energy, glucose levels optimized, all the stuff, right? All the stuff for health and wellness is going to be optimized by just simply answering the question, like, don't eat that stuff, eat whole foods, right? And so you're a guy though that wanted to optimize your aesthetic and your performance. So answering that question to you was going to keep you frustrated because you were going to keep going to the gym a lot, doing 2-a-days, doing 75 hard, eating clean, right? And still being like, how does John have a 6-pack and why is he eating Pop-Tarts? And like, that makes no sense to me, right? Because here's where most of my clients come in, just the doorway that we're talking about. You guys need to know that it's not just about what to eat. Okay. So that's actually like, that's 1B. 1A would be the quantity of food. 1A is actually like, how much should I be eating? And then I got to know, am I eating proteins, carbohydrates, or fats? And how much exactly of those should I be eating to optimize my body composition and my performance? 1B, very, very important, is still like, where should those foods come from? 90% of those foods should be single ingredient, whole foods, fruits and vegetables, lean sources of protein, all the stuff that you already know. However, most people who struggle with their fitness and my clientele, they tell me the same story. I've sat on a million, not a million, but thousands of calls where they're like, dude, John, I'm stuck, man. I'm right around 16 to 20% body fat. And, I work out 4 or 5 times a week. I do cardio on top of that. I eat clean. My wife cooks for me. It's all whole food. I'm like, cool, man. Like, I already know their problem. They're not paying attention to the details. Just like business, there's details that they're missing. That's just like 2 millimeters off. And if I change that dial for them, everything changes. So if you're wondering what you should do, you should get, I would say in order, you should get 7 hours of sleep a night. If you want like a nootropic or, you want your brain to be fire, stop getting 5 hours of sleep and get 7, recover, right? Number 2, you should get your hydration on. You shouldn't go through the day without being hydrated. If you whatever your weight is, divide it by 2, get that many ounces of water a day. Number 3, I'd say resistance train, right? Like, I believe in resistance training. I believe in the adaptation, that the signal from your brain to your muscle cells to be like, whoa, John's put me through this workout. That doesn't mean I got to lay in a puddle of sweat, but it's a intelligently planned workout optimized for strength, power, and a little bit of conditioning. You do that 3 to 4 times a week. Number 4, the food. I would actually say the food and the training flipped for most people. The food would go first, knowing the quantity of how much to eat. And then also 1B, like, it is important, the food sources. We don't want to just eat like an idiot to hit calories, proteins, carbs, and fats, because there's this whole other idea of micronutrients and gut health and hormones that, like, eat like an adult. Don't eat a bunch of, garbage. And then that training that I just talked about would be the other thing, man. And so it's simple stuff. I do, abide by the rule, minimum effective dose. However, you got to know what dials to turn up and down at the right times. And if you're really interested in looking like your before and after pictures are incredible. Like, you're walking around with, 6-pack. Most people never get to that point because they never fully understand what that's going to take. And it's not for lack of effort from your standpoint. It was more lack of understanding and then execution.
Totally.
There are people, though, out there that it's for lack of effort. And so those are 2 different client bases that, I could help in 2 different ways. However, it's, those would be my tips for someone's like, dude, I want to go down this road.
Do you think that the average person should be tracking all their calories that they bring in?
So it depends, man. Like, it depends on the goal. So if a person's like, dude, I want to know how to have a 6-pack, absolutely, 100%. Like, if a person's like, dude, I'm 50 pounds overweight, I just want to lose weight with the easiest strategy possible, then caloric deficit is always going to be the mechanism that's going to drive the weight loss. We could get caloric deficit by going keto. We could get caloric deficit by going paleo. We could get caloric deficit by intermittent fasting and being like a busy entrepreneur. Like, stop eating breakfast, eat 2 meals a day. For lunch, have this. For dinner, have something like this. And they'll lose weight. But they're never going to get there, right? Mm-hmm. They're never going to get there. And so that's what I'm so interested in, and my company is about. I like to close the loop and solidify in your mind this new self-image. I like to send that signal so deep into the unconscious that, like, I'm a badass, bro. Like, I'm a business savage, and like, I look it, I feel it, I perform it. And so for a person that wants that, yeah, dude, we got to track for a certain number of weeks. After that, you don't have to track all the year round. Like, if you want to know what I do, I live by, and what's next for you is a seasonal approach, man. Like, it's periodization of nutrition, which a lot of times we get in training. But for you, there's going to come a point you can't diet year round. You're not going to diet year round. We got to restore metabolic function. We got to restore hormone level. We got to take those calories all the way up, probably well over 3,000, and give you 500 grams of carbs, where you're like, dude, calling John, like, how do I get these in? And your body weight is literally staying the same. And we restore those numbers, and you start setting PRs in the gym, and you do that for a certain number of weeks. and you look at your calendar year and you think to yourself, when do I want to be in the best shape? When do you want to be in the best shape if you were to pick a time of year? Obviously year round, but like the most optimal aesthetic shape.
Summer.
Exactly.
Spring, summer, fall. Yep.
So January comes around. You're like, okay, I proved to myself I can do this. I got to get out of diet phase. Now from January, February, and March, I'm going to focus on building muscle. I'm going to focus on building muscle, setting PRs, getting calories through the roof, right? Limiting fat gain, but we're going to gain a little bit of fat. We might get a little bit softer around the edges. Desserts come around or a couple cocktails that you were saying no to. You could be like, it's okay, right? There's a fine line, but you feel like you're out of a diet phase so that you give yourself a little tiny break, right? And then March, April, May, June, or April, May, June, you're like, I'm going to dial it in and just be dialed in fitness. I'm going to have vein popping out of my ab. When I go to the country club and go to the pool, people are going to go, what the hell is Dustin doing? Right. And then, when you come up to the holidays and it's Halloween and then Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, you don't like try to grind your teeth through diet, which you've done a good job of because we had to, the time was right for you this year. But I'm telling you right now, next year, if you were my client, I would say, look, man, October, November, December, we're going to be in a little maintenance phase. You're going to train hard. I don't expect you to be 100% perfect. You're still going to have a six pack. It's all going to be good. However, our calories are going to be higher. There's going to be a lot more room to navigate. Right. And so you start to know like when it's time, when it's the season, when it's the off season, when it's the preseason, and when it's the championship. When you start knowing that, dude, like fitness is fun. Nutrition is fun for me because I don't trick myself and try to be, in this diet phase for 12 months out of the year. I get excited when the season changes. And when I know it's championship time, when I'm here down in Scottsdale and every single day, like people are having, barbecues and pool time, I'm like, bro, I'll have 10 veins popping through my abs and it'll be awesome. Right. I get client after client after client, but through the holidays, these same people like see me and invite me over and I'm eating, some cookies and having a little bit of fun with food because I'm not, so crazy about it. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. And what I've really enjoyed is, when I'm given the guidelines, like here's how much fat, carbs and protein you can have in a day, like it's up to me to figure out what foods reach those levels. And so like, I'll have steak for dinner. Mm-hmm. Like it's not boiled chicken and broccoli every goddamn meal. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of chicken, but steak, toast with butter, Kodiak cake, pancakes, like you can actually eat food you enjoy. And that's been a pleasant surprise is I can still enjoy every single meal, just not going crazy. It's just not going absolutely crazy with the baked goods, which are always a weakness of mine.
Yeah, dude, me too. Bring over cookies. I'm like, dude, like holidays, right? It's like neighbors bring over a bunch of stuff and you're like,
crumble cookies or something.
Either got to throw it away or got to eat it. Yeah. And every once in a while, dude, throw a crumble cookie on there.
Yeah. Those things are ridiculous.
Yeah. Like probably 1,200 calories per cookie, man.
Right. I appreciate you sharing all this. I don't think that this conversation happens enough. I think business and health and fitness are kept separate. I don't know why. And I just, since you and your wife do such a great job on your podcast, kind of bridging the two, I thought that, that this audience would be done a great service, especially going into 2021, New Year's resolutions and all that, bridging the two, because you don't need to keep yes, they're separate concepts, but they work together. And I just want you, if you're listening, to walk away realizing that if you get your health and nutrition and fitness dialed in, that's going to help your business. And doing well in business can help give you the mindset to be healthier and do better in the gym. Like it all works together, or it should. And so I really appreciate you taking the time to come on today. If anyone wants to reach out to you, hire you, join your program, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Yeah, the best, dude. Thank you for having me on. First of all, man, enjoyed the conversation. And to your point, it is like there's certain. It depends who you are, right? Like if you want to win, like I already know you want to win. I can see it. I can hear it from your voice. That your actions back it up. If you're a person, and again, like the people who listen to your show and my show, like they probably wouldn't waste time if they don't want to win. we're all playing this game, and this game is now, not high school football and not on the basketball court and not on the tennis court. It's literally, we're adults now, but there's this life thing. And, there's this winning feeling, right? Because we don't know if the game's not ever over. The sun comes back up and it's not over until you take your last breath. And so the best you can do is to have that winning feeling and keep giving effort day after day after day. And so the drivers and the performers and the people who, just want to win, like they do have this sense, I think, that it's becoming more and more popular to talk about, like, look, your mind, body, business, like if you want to play at the elite level, you got to get that all in check, right? Other people might not see it that way, but they're not the people who craves winning like we do. And it's not a number on the bank, you open up your computer and it, like, bank account numbers is a way for people to keep score a little bit with themselves, hopefully, right? Not in the comparison way. Pictures, six pack is a great way to keep score with yourself, not compare yourself to Dustin, not compare yourself to John, but compare yourself to you last week and the week before that and last year, right? That's how I want to view it. I want to just keep making progress, because the people who are high performers that I work with, progress drives us, man. Growth drives us. We want to see what we're capable of. We want to see, what our fullest potential looks and feels like. We're not happy if we're just staying the same, because it feels like we're sliding backwards. And so, for you guys, if you feel like that, it is all one. And when you start locking all those, locking that fitness in, you'll notice that every other area of your life definitely does increase. And so if you want to find more about me and, my philosophy on all that, probably the best place would be johnmadsen.com. As far as you can see the different shows that I do. I have a podcast that me and my wife do that's a really fun podcast called Upgrade Media. I have my own show that has probably 150 or so episodes. That's just me. That's called The Show. You can get links for both of those on johnmadsen.com. You can find out a little bit about my program, the Athletic AF CEO Project, on that website. And then if you want to connect on social, if you type in John Madsen, I'll probably pop up on Instagram, but my handle is John Madsen Official.
And we'll link all those up in the show notes of the podcast as well. So wherever you're listening, just click into the show notes and we'll have some links for you. My wife and I have been really enjoying your Upgrade Media podcast with your wife.
She's hilarious.
Yeah. And it's crazy because I remember watching her on Fox 13.
Yeah.
Nineveh Dinha, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah,
how long ago was that she was
she's been out for like 5 years, and we decided to do a podcast. She's a VP of marketing for a tech company, dude. Nice. Like, when I describe high performer and all of what I just described, she's that. She's a female that. And so she's creative too. So she's like, I want to, get on a podcast. And so we sit in here, man, and it's hilarious. She keeps me on my toes. Like, I have no idea what she's going to say sometimes. And so it's been a well-received podcast, man. We talk about business and finance and marriage, stuff that goes on. So yeah, man, I'm glad that you listen to it and like it.
Yeah, it's awesome. You're doing great stuff, man. And you're really helping to, change minds, and, you're making an impact, which is cool. So thank you for that. Thank you for, helping me and taking the time to come share with the audience how they can, make some adjustments and just have a killer 2021. I'm excited for 2021. I don't give a shit what happens, like geopolitically. Don't care. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do, but it doesn't matter, because 2020 has been a hell of a year, and I'm stoked. Like, the momentum that I feel, and I know you feel it too, going into next year is it's crazy. So thanks again, man. Great stuff.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I highly recommend you go follow John on Instagram, John Madsen Official. I think, John Madsen Official is his handle, and it's linked in the show notes as well. But thank you for listening this week, guys. Have an amazing rest of your week. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the holidays. Enjoy time with your family. Your kids are home from school, which is good and bad. It makes things crazier, but yet awesome. But don't take your eye off the ball. Okay, don't wait till January 1st to get started on this stuff. Get started now. Okay, or at least start making the plans now. Start doing those things. And if you guys are going to get back to the gym, just know right now that for about a month and a half, it's a shit show, because everyone on the planet is like, I'm going to go get a gym membership, or I'm actually going to use my gym membership, and they start going. And so until about mid to late February, it's going to be packed. So either don't go at peak times or just deal with it. Don't let that stop you. Don't let that be an excuse to not exercise. And for God's sakes, you can exercise at home. You don't need a gym to get in great physical shape. You don't. That's just an excuse that I used to use back when COVID hit to not exercise. But it's bullshit. That's something 75 Hard taught me, is you don't need the gym. So for the love of God, please, I care for you guys. I want you guys to succeed. I want you to be healthy and happy, because that's what helps you succeed, which then just snowballs the whole thing in the right way. I want that for you. I want you to be wealthy. I want you to be on a great, firm financial footing. But I can only tell you so many things. I can only give you so much information. I can only point you in the direction so much. You've got to actually do it. I can lead a horse to water, but I cannot make the horse drink. You've got to do that. Hopefully you learned something this week that is helpful to you. Please share it with somebody if you found it valuable. Share it with an agent, a broker, a team member, some agent friends on social media. Put it in your story. Please help us spread the word. That's all we ask. And enjoy the rest of your Christmas and holiday season. We'll see you next week. Take care.